Okay, so I created a new account for the purpose of this video. So here I'm just deciding which type of Canva I want. I ended up going with small business because this is the email I linked to my YouTube account. And I'm gonna skip this trial. It is a nice little free trial, but oh, I really like the confetti that they popped up there. That was a nice touch. Here's some templates that Canva has created for users. What I want to do here is search Instagram because I'm creating the post for Instagram. And here they have this commonly searched phrase, Instagram post. And I'm gonna go with create blank. That's usually the best I've found to, that's the best way that I found to do this. I've tried using templates before, but they're a bit frustrating, to be honest. I like to start with a fresh canvas, so to say. So here I'm going to start by sort of brainstorming what I want the background to be. That kind of helps me with inspiration. And I used Canva's prompt. I think it was saying like, give us an idea or something like that. So I looked up quote with nature and background. That's one of my favorite things. And I'm kind of looking at this template, kind of looks interesting. And then I go with this one. You see how it kind of inspires me like step by step because I like the colors in the first one. So actually I'm kind of going back on what I said. Okay, sorry everyone, I'm a bit tired, but I ended up choosing a template. So I liked the background, so I just like deleted everything else except the background. And I like to just add a text box. I don't usually use the heading formats. So here I'm looking up the quote that I want to type there. The quote is something I came up with a month or two ago, and here I am typing the quote. It says, "Fear operates groundedly," and then alongside me as an ally. And I did make up the word groundedly. I didn't really see that word anywhere in online dictionaries, so it really should be a word. I think that the word grounding is a modern type of word usage in the spiritual context or just the kind of individualism of self-care type area of science, I guess you would say, or health, or the medicine world. Next, I'm going to clean up the style of how the quote is shown. So I return space and make it 2 lines. I definitely wanted to end the first line with groundedly, and now I'm going to be switching up the size. All of the features at the top are just very much modeled like Microsoft Word. Then I wanted to change up the line spacing, and it takes me a second to remember which function that is, but it used to be something else. I want to say they changed it to this button at the top that says advanced. So I changed the line spacing. Then I wanted to add one more of these background features, so I added a 4th one of those pink and orange type shapes. And yeah, I've always really loved the combination of pink and orange. It's very sort of the sunset colors, and it's just kind of calming in my opinion. So the next thing I want to do here is add an extra background feature. And as you could see, I just kind of scrolled around, and under photos was some sort of suggested images, and I never really typed like gray background features or anything like that, but Canva has a way of just showing sort of inspiring little pictures, and sometimes it does directly recommend related to your past searches, but in this case they just kind of showed these kind of nice calming gray backgrounds, and so here I'm trying out certain ones. That's the one I ultimately went with, but it did take me a few attempts, and what I did was I ended up cropping this image, and then I just wanted like the really soft parts of the image, if that makes sense. So I cropped it and then enlarged it again. That is not actually what the final product is, but ultimately that's what I did. I might just fast forward to show the final effect. Here is the cropped image I was talking about, and so I go to layers and then send it to the back so it looks like this. And I wish I did that a little slower to show how that works. So you can rewind if you need to, but yeah, that's a really great feature of this program, and also a very common feature of Microsoft Word and very helpful when creating layered images. At this point, I know I want to change the font of the quote, so there's some recommended fonts here. I don't know how Canva comes up with these, but I'm really curious, like what exactly, like how the, I guess the computer programmers sort of create the functions, because it's almost like based off of what you're creating, they show them like a likely font, so to say, that you might like for it. Then I wanted to add my signature as the creator, so I created kind of an icon, and it's basically some gray looking mountains in nature, and then I went ahead and wrote the username of my Instagram, and I've done that quite a few times already, so it's on brand for my Instagram. And then I'm gonna go ahead and save the image, and it's going to populate into a new window, which I don't really show because it showed like my whole laptop, so I just avoided that. But here's my Instagram, and I uploaded the image, and here it is, and I'm really happy with it. So that is it for this how-to video, and maybe I'll make more if it is appreciated by viewers. Thank you for watching.